guys, I know it's been such a long time. I am really sorry for that. I've been just so busy, but I am glad to be back, and I decided to, just have a little chat with you guys whilst I bake some pies. So I have 60 pies to make. I am extremely tired, but I was like, you know what? Let me have a chat and get this done. I need to get them done by tomorrow. I'm just gonna be chatting away, mostly on how I came to Russia. In every family there's a black sheep, and I think I was that black sheep. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you like a little story time and share my journey. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it interesting. I'm going to be working down here on the table with my pies. So if I'm a little all over the place, sorry in advance. Like I said, I'm baking and I need to get this done. So I'll just start by showing you my pie mixture. I know it doesn't even look yummy. Like, it has this thick layer of butter on it, so it actually doesn't get dry. So anyway, let me get into it. Let me start talking to you guys about how I ended up in Russia, guys. Like I said, I think I was like the black sheep of the family. We're only two. It's just my sister and I. But my sister's always been focused. In case you're watching, like, you made me look bad. But I'm joking. Hey, she's just always been focused. She knew what she wanted. I also knew that I wanted to end up doing medicine, but I feel I was just young. I was immature, so I didn't know like where I wanted to go, and I didn't really have goals in life. So like I said, I finished at a very young age. I finished high school when I was 15, turning 16, and I actually wrote my high school exams early. I was just tired of high school, and I was like, you know what? Why not try? So I wrote them early. Sorry guys, I'm looking for my fork. Okay, see. I finished early. I was just tired of school. I was tired of the whole thing. I really regret it now because I actually wish I stayed longer in school. It was so much fun as compared to now. But yeah, I told my parents I wanted to try and write the exams, a bit early. So they agreed. They were not too sure whether I was going to pass, even after writing my final high school exam. They kind of forced me to go and write with my actual class. I think I wrote one exam, and then I was like, you guys, no, I'm not doing this. I was so exhausted because the whole year I was going for extra lessons and stuff. So I was like, guys, I'm tired, just trust me, I will pass and everything. Yeah, I was just telling them that I actually I didn't know whether I was gonna pass. But anyway, long story short, I wrote and I actually passed quite well. And I wanted to go straight to university. I wanted to start my pre-med. But my parents thought I was young, and I was. So they encouraged me to actually go for A-levels. So I went to Zimbabwe. I moved to Zimbabwe, and I went to a boarding school and I started my A-levels. But I was just so over it. I wanted to go ahead, wanted to start uni, right? So I convinced my parents, and they were like, okay, fine, but you have to start in pre-med. You can't go straight into medicine, start first year straight away. So we were like, okay, and we started looking for pre-med courses. So my dad actually found this university in Poland, and he was like, you know what, I think this is pretty good. I looked at it and I liked it, so we started the whole application process, and I actually got in. So I was over the moon. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm going, I'm leaving. Plus, I was not really putting my all into the whole A-level thing. So I was just like, you know, I don't think I'm going to pass as good as I actually want to pass. So let me go start afresh and, you know, and actually do pre-med. I thought it was just gonna be like direct, let's start treating patients, guys. Yeah, I was that naive. We started the whole visa process and everything, and I had just made like hostel prefect. I totally regret like leaving that experience because I made like beautiful friends in Zim. When I look back now, I actually kind of regret because I could have had so much fun. I could have grown up more, you know. My parents were really proud of me. Finishing school at a very young age and, you know, getting into such a good uni. So, you know, I went and I was so excited. I was gonna stay and experience life by myself, you know. So I arrived in Poland. Yeah, I started making friends. Everything was good. But guys, I was young, and you know, like I said, I had been in boarding school for like a term before, but that was my first real experience of actually living with people, getting along with people, and like tolerating people. You know, everyone is different, so yes, it's really important to tolerate people. Guys, I'm talking to you and I'm not even concentrating on my pies. Okay, I'm trying to do both, multitask. So yeah, where was I? It got really hard for me, and I just didn't enjoy it. And plus, I was like basically underage, you know, and my housemates wanted to, you know, go clubbing, go partying. I was not used to this. I was such a goody two-shoes. Like in high school, I had my moments, right? But then I was just like, you know, no, university is gonna be different. I'm not gonna be doing these things and stuff like that. So I clashed a lot with my housemates. They just certain things I at that time didn't approve of. Yeah, look at me now. But yeah, so it was just hard and I just didn't like it. And plus, you know, like I felt all alone. Everyone was so mature and, you know, that experienced life. I was the youngest. It was just hard. Moving on, I eventually moved out of my flat and I moved onto campus. I moved into a room on campus, and I was miserable. I was alone in the room and I was just always crying, you know. I wanted to go home and all of that. Long story short, pre-med was almost ending. We were writing final exams, and now in that university it was not like an automatic thing where you just jump into first year after pre-med. There's this major exam everyone needs to go through to actually go into first year. So I wrote the exam and I'd already made up my mind, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not coming back. Even if I get accepted, I'm going. I told my parents, like, can I please, I asked my parents whether I could go home, you know, for the holiday. So I wrote the exam. I got accepted into first year. I wish I took that opportunity, guys. I really do. That university was so great now that I look back, and I wasted so much time. I would have been finished by now. And I went back home knowing I was not going to return. I made a mistake. I didn't actually put my education on hold because after like 2 years of me jumping around, we'll get into that just now, I could have actually gone back and continued medicine, but they were like, no, sorry, you have to go through the whole exam again. You know what, you've stayed at home too long. And I was just like, I'm not doing it. So I went home and I convinced my parents. I'm like, I'm not going back. I didn't enjoy Poland, all of that, and I stayed at home for about 6 months looking for universities. Guys, medicine is so hard to get into. It really is. And like I said, I didn't actually finish my A level, so that made it even harder. I just had like a pre-med diploma, and not every university considered that, you know, not every university considered that, basically. So it was just really hard. I was like emailing unis and they were like, no, you would have to do pre-med in our country first and all of that. It was just so hard. I applied everywhere. Mention a country, right? I applied there, guys. It was that bad. So eventually I found a university in South America. You know, it kind of just popped out. I'm laughing because of the way I found it. You know, I was always like constantly searching for unis. I was just getting tired at home, and it just popped up like an advert, right, on the screen. So I was like, you know what, me being naive, not asking questions, I'm like, okay, you know what, let me go check this out. So I did. I went to check it out. I'm like, okay, these people, you know, put me, you know, straight into their first year, and medicine there was like 4 years if you had a diploma or a degree of some sort that kinda was medical related. So I was like, you know what, let me just try it. So I emailed them, and these people were like really friendly. They, you know, they emailed me and all of that, and then they were like, you know, we actually have an agent close to where you are in Southern Africa, so, you know, get in contact, like get in touch with her, start talking to her, she will help you and everything. So I did. Guys, if you're planning to use agents in the future, I used them twice, yeah, twice, and both times they screwed me up. But anyway, some people have luck. I don't know, I just didn't, you know. I think they just saw my face and they were like, But anyway, yeah, I started communicating with them and all that. Once again, I was able to convince my parents, you know. So I convinced them. They were like, okay, yeah, sure, let's go. And there were problems along the way, like with the agent. Like I said, like we had like paid like half of the fees, and my invitation letter to actually go to South America was not, you know, was just not coming. So we actually thought we got duped, and then finally my invitation letter did come, and I had to get there like within 2 days, because like apparently classes had already started in them. I spent 2 days in a plane because there was no direct flight to where I was going. So yeah, my parents actually told me like, you know what, you won't be coming back anytime soon. They were just like, we're just doing this because we're investing in you and you need to go and make us proud and all of that, try and stay there, you know. And I was like, yes, of course I will, this is what I want to do and all of that. So, you know, I won't let you down. I'm coming back with a degree. Here I am still trying to get that degree. So yes, I went and I got there, and I won't mention like the country, I won't mention the school, but I got there, I arrived, and I was disappointed. So I loved the country. People were so friendly. I would actually go there again. I would totally. People were so friendly there, you know, so friendly. And it was just nice, you know. It was a nice experience. But when I actually arrived at the school, I'm like, this is the reason. It just popped out advertising itself. Guys, the pictures, nothing, they were really not the same, you know. And I got a shock of my life. I had paid for hostel and everything when I arrived. I stayed in a hotel room with one of my close friends. Like we became friends because of that. I stayed in a hotel for about like 2 months, I think. Like at least the university offered to pay because they didn't have the type of hostels they had, you know, advertised. We couldn't really cook and everything like that, so I was basically broke the whole time, because I mean I'm buying takeout and all of that every single day, you know. But like I said, at least the uni actually paid for the hotel, and yeah. But we kept on going back to the offices and saying, guys, we're really tired of this type of life. So yeah, look for a place for us. Eventually, they put us in an apartment. But yeah, I was just so disappointed, and as time went on, I started becoming a bit serious with my life. So I started researching on certain things, and I realized that it wouldn't take me where I wanted to be, or where I wanted to be in life that time. I would find it hard to practice and all of that. So my friend and I did more research and all of that, and we're just like, you know what, maybe this is not for us, so we need to somehow convince our parents once again. Remember I told you just now that I was just like, yeah, I'm bringing back a degree. No, it did not happen. Strike two. So I convinced my parents. It was not easy. I convinced them, and the only reason they allowed me to like go back home was because of what I told them, like, which was at that time true. Like, I wouldn't be able to practice, properly. I wouldn't have options and all that. So they did their research, and they were like, okay, you know what, she's telling the truth, come back home. So I went back home after about a semester and a bit. Parents at that point were just like, mind you, my sister's excelling, she's now on her second master's. So yeah, and here I am, so yeah, I went back home, and my parents were like, look, you know what, maybe medicine is not for you, maybe it's difficult, choose something else. But I convinced them, and I'm like, no, I really want to do this. So they were like, okay, one last try. One last try. So two of my close friends from high school were in Russia studying medicine at that time. So I was like, you know what, and I had heard a lot of good things about Russian medicine, and people were actually practicing back home, like people who studied in Russia. So I'm like, you know what, let me find out about Russia, let me go. So I started talking to them about Russia, and they were like, it's not bad, come. So for the third time, I convinced my parents. I came to Russia, but not where I am now. No. I went to another city. And I basically, long story short, I was not happy there. I was not at all serious. When I came to Russia, I grew wings, guys. I was a totally different person, and I just behaved differently, and I was just going down a very bad path. I really was, I was not studying as much anymore. Like, I would go out during weekdays. I had to at one point sit down with myself, and I'm like, Nazi, you're going to be a doctor. You have to know your stuff. And it was just, I was partying so hard, and I just needed to get out of that whole element and stuff. So I felt like I needed to move again. So I was just like, you know what, my parents will never agree this time. It was so hard convincing them. I went home for summer, and I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? This is like the millionth time I've done this. Like, are they even going to listen to me? So I sat down with my parents, and I told them, and they were just not buying it. So I went ahead by myself, and I was like, just like applying to different unis here in Moscow. I'm now in Moscow. So yeah, I was just applying to different unis, and I was like, let me see whether I actually get in. By the way, when I went to my first uni in Russia, I went through an agent who also kind of screwed me over. Yeah. So basically, long story short, we had paid all my school fees, but the agent actually didn't pay the school fees to the school. So at the end of the day, we weren't allowed to write any exams because it was as if everyone who came with this specific agent didn't pay school fees. So I was like, okay, I'm applying and I get in. And they were like, okay. So I'm like, okay, let me convince my parents and ask them whether I can actually transfer instead of start again, you know, because I'd already started the whole Russian syllabus system. So I was like, you know, maybe there is a possibility. I had to convince my parents for the fourth time. I convinced them. I was like, you know, I sat them down, and I think the only reason why they actually agreed is I was honest. I told them the truth. I told them basically what happened, like in my old uni. I told them the type of person I was becoming. I sat down and I'm like, look, this is the situation, so I promise this would be my last time. And I had made that decision. I'm like, you know what, come hail, come thunder, come fire, this is it. Like, I cannot keep on playing. And I kept on looking at my sister, who was excelling in so many ways. I just kept on looking at her and I'm like, I can't be this black sheep. Like, seriously, I need to get my life straight. So I told them all this and they were convinced, and they were like, look, this is the last time. This is too much. And at that point my sister had also been like, Nazi, this is not okay. You know, you need to make up your mind. You need to stick to your decisions. You just need to be a strong person. You know, you can't keep on relying on these people. It's not easy. You understand, when you're, you know, a parent and have to send your child to school and all of that. And she really just gave me a talk, and I was like, you know what, okay, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I sat down with myself and I put myself through this whole conversation, and I was like, okay, this is my last time. And guys, it was my last time. I finally stayed here and I'm actually doing it. I think I deserve a round of applause, guys, because I actually did it. I actually told myself I am going to do this, and I am doing it. So when graduation hits, guys, I always say no one will be able to stop me, like no one, because I'm proud of myself, and sometimes you just need to be proud of yourself. You deserve it. Clap for yourself. Feel proud. So yeah, that is my story. That's how I ended up in Moscow and all. It was a roller coaster. It really was. I feel like some of the decisions I made were based on the fact that I was not mature enough at all. I really wasn't. I hadn't experienced life like that, and it took me time. So if I had to do something different now, I would have stayed in school. I wouldn't have rushed myself, you know. I would have just stayed and experienced high school, experienced that time of life. Like I said, I actually regret, because looking back, those were the best times of my life. High school, guys, teaches you so much, and I mean, it's just fun, you know. So take your time, slow down, don't grow up fast, man. Really don't. Take your time. But I'm happy now. I'm really happy. I think I needed to go through all that, you know, to really understand life. You know, I can't regret my decisions forever. I can see my parents have actually seen me grow. They trust me a lot more, and they're actually very proud of me. I hope this story helps someone out there listening. I really do. And I hope you enjoyed the story. I have not even finished baking, guys. I've just made like 9 pies, and I told you I have 60 to make. So wish me luck, and if you like this video, please subscribe, please share as well. Feel free to comment, and see you next time. Bye, guys.